It might be the coolest in this room it's ever been in a long time.
Yeah, I think like summer's close to gone.
Yeah, I know.
Dank fuck.
I was walking home in the rain the other day. I was like, what is this magical sensation that I haven't felt for the past 7 years? Over-exaggeration. But...
I went out for a smoke the other night at like 2 a.m.
All your stories start like this now.
Yeah. At like 2 a.m. And it was just fucking bouncing it down, mate. And it was great. I got super soaked. I had to go change clothes. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Then I sat down and watched just binge Netflix, basically.
Whenever I'm watching Netflix, I'll like sit by the window and like with the window open.
Yeah.
And because it's getting colder now, on the night I'll be like, oh, I'm a bit cold. But then I've got to appreciate how much I wanted the cold. So I'm like, no, I'll stick with it. Just like shivering on the couch. I could do this. I wanted this.
I know, like, you're with someone and they're all like, it's a bit cold in here. You're like, you're kidding. I've got fucking nipple bullets going on. I'm glad it's cold. Fucking, you can't. I like the heat because you can do cool things like barbecues and stuff like that. And it's not, I wouldn't call it a comfy feeling, but there's like a related feeling to like when it's middle of winter, it's fucking, there's a blizzard outside and you're sat in there and you comfy, like a nice jumper.
Yeah, it's so different, isn't it?
Thick socks, a nice coffee or, hot chocolate, whatever, and you're just reading a good book with a fire on or something like that.
Yeah, because you'll be like warm in the summer and it'll just be the most uncomfortable, like you can feel this weight of heat just sitting on you. But then when it's actually cold and you're trying to get warm, you'll just be wrapped up in 10 blankets with these thick ass socks on and all the heating blasted up, and it's not uncomfortable then.
No,
it's just like nice and warm and it makes you sleepy. And
yeah, there's definitely something really comfy about it. But there's a similar sort of feeling in summer, not cozy, but like it's really hot outside. Like maybe you've got the front door open, the fan on, and there's just a nice breeze that's not making you cold, but it's cooling you down a bit, and you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You're just relaxing. You're doing nothing, maybe drinking something, reading a book or whatever it is. I won't call it a cozy feeling, but it's a nice feeling. I was what bloody hell was it? Last summer, summer before or something? It must have been last summer because it was this apartment. I came over and you and Candice had fucked off to work, and now we're doing work here. But then I like ran out of people to email. So I was like, fuck it, man, I'm just going to go and chill out. So I then just lay down on your couch, didn't roll a cig, I smoked a cig, just chilling out on your couch with the sun coming through the windows, but the windows were open. Like a cat
laid on the floor in the sun.
Yeah, it was a pretty dope chill out sesh.
Yeah, although you don't get much of those in this apartment. Like as soon as the sun's out, it's just inescapable heat throughout the entire building.
Well, last summer compared to this summer was fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Last summer was all like, it's a bit warm in it. This summer was like,
go away, sun. Yeah. So I do have some bad news. You probably noticed by now that this podcast isn't quite as long as they usually are, due to some unforeseen and frankly frustrating circumstances. We've had to reduce the podcast down to 30 minutes. Makes it easier on me. Well, it makes it easier on everyone, really. And hopefully it's more of like a easy listening sort of thing. Yeah. Like you don't have to commit an hour to it. I feel like half an hour, when I'm looking through YouTube videos and I'm like, what am I going to watch it next? Half an hour is my like threshold.
Yeah.
If it's like an hour, I'll watch it while I'm working or something, but I won't dedicate an hour just to watching that thing. So,
be like an amuse-bouche for the ears.
That's the second time this weekend you've said that.
Well, I've been watching Friends again.
Oh, I see.
Like I do.
Yeah.
And there's an episode where Monica's creating some food and whatnot, and she goes to Chandler like with a plate of this small food because it's bite-sized food in it, and she's all like, "Have some of these. They're amuse-bouche." And he picks one up and he goes, "Well, they are amusing." And obviously the canned laughter comes in, and you're like, I like this because it tells me when things are funny and when I should laugh.
Yeah. I was talking to Paige about Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and saying that it's always on my currently watching on Netflix. And every time I go on Netflix, I'll be like, what should I watch? But then I'll just see Always Sunny and I'll be like, yeah, I can dedicate a few hours to this. And she was saying, oh yeah, it's like that for me with Friends. And I was thinking, yeah, I think Always Sunny might be my Friends.
Yeah.
Like I could watch that anytime for any period of time.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Friends. It's very special.
I watched it as it was airing. I was lucky enough to be able to do that when I was younger. And I remember watching the last episode with my mum and it being very, very sad. And then we were like, oh, it's okay because Joey's going to come out on Channel 5. I think it was set for Channel 5. Which is, you know, if it's going to Channel 5, you know it's not going to be good. And yeah, it wasn't.
No, sadly.
Yeah, but I don't know. For whatever reason, I still don't have that sort of nostalgia that everybody else has about Friends. I don't dislike Friends. I can watch an episode and
see.
I'm just not that invested. Maybe
I did manage to catch a few episodes, even in the 90s as they were airing, because my sister Lorna loved Friends.
Yeah,
and she was living with us then because she was only like a teenager, and she'd always be watching it whenever it were on, and I'd be in the front room playing or whatever, and I'd catch it. But I wasn't really interested in it. I wasn't interested in TV back then. And the only reason I ended up watching it is because we had the box set somehow, because my dad hates Friends.
Yeah.
Because my dad does this thing where if any of his kids really enjoy something, he doesn't like it, which is just backwards.
Yeah. So,
like, Lorna really enjoyed Friends, and without even watching a single episode, he'd be like, fucking shit. And he does it with me all the time. I'll put on Rick and Morty. I watched that.
As soon as he sees something's a cartoon,
he's like, we're watching cartoons for you're not a kid.
We used to be really into Family Guy.
Yeah.
As you are when you're a kid. When you sort of grow up, you get out of Family Guy, I feel. But he'd like come into the room and he'd be like, oh, you're fucking watching shit for kids again. And then he'd sit down and just laugh the entire time.
Yeah, I've shown him loads of episodes where it's like, would you want a kid watching this? Like where there's a black guy that comes to the house or whatever, and Peter starts walking around pretending he's a ghost, and he's just dressed like a clan member, and it's like, fuck, you know. Like, you wouldn't show that to a kid. But yeah, we watching Rick and Morty, he did the same thing. Like, oh, you're watching cartoons again. Cartoons are for kids, Ash. And he sits down, and then he just has like the best chuckle ever. Just starts chuckling at everything, and I'm like, and then he never admits it.
I know.
Like, oh, you were laughing there, Dad. It's good. And he's like, no, it's shit. And I'm like, but you were laughing. You enjoyed it.
I don't know. It's like there's something in the back of his head telling him what he can and can't like.
Yeah. So yeah,
he's not open to new things at all, even if he clearly enjoys it.
Yeah, it's that, and he just doesn't like anything his kids enjoy for some reason.
Yeah.
So like, he's always had a thing about my music, because when I was a teenager, it was exclusively like, you know, hardcore death metal or nothing. You know, deathcore, death metal, all that shit. If the guitars were super thick sounding and really fast and heavy, and you could barely understand the vocals without a text translation, I'd love it. And my dad hated that stuff.
See, I was thinking about this the other day. It's quite interesting with Slipknot. They're like well known. When you look back to those days, they're well known for being, you know, the main band that sort of goths and emos and whatever you would listen to. But comparatively, when you look at all the bands that people were listening to, Slipknot's probably the like easy listening version of the rest. Yeah, it's kind of light.
It was my gateway band to
exactly.
Much heavier stuff.
That's what it mostly is, just a gateway band. But I feel like it was. There were a lot of people that wanted to adopt the lifestyle, but they didn't actually really like the music, and they could tolerate Slipknot. So that's like as far as they'd go.
No, I think Slipknot was like a gateway band for more serious people that wanted to like really get into that sort of music.
Yeah, but it was also where a lot of people stopped.
Yeah, probably. Because people who wanted to live the lifestyle but not really listen to the music would listen to bands like Alien Ant Farm and Puddle of Mud and that, but they'd dress like, I don't know, moshes the term was back then and stuff.
Sweaty moshes.
But Slipknot still has a really loyal fan base now. And But yeah, they were my gateway band to much heavier stuff. And I do like them now, but they're not my go-to. There's much better music out there.
Avenged Sevenfold, mate.
Yeah, that was a lot of people's gateway bands as well.
Yeah. They were good. I think there was a certain point where they started bringing out new music and it just wasn't good.
After the Rev died.
Oh, yeah. That was it. Yeah. Yeah, I want your sister crying about that.
I don't think so.
There was somebody we knew, some girl that was so
Probably.
upset about the Rev
We
dying.
knew a
She
lot
cried.
of really pathetic girls, though, didn't we?
Whoa.
Well, I knew a girl who cried because there was a rumour that My Chemical Romance was splitting up, but they weren't.
It was probably my sister. My sister cried like fuck for days when MCR split.
It was in school and she was closer to our age, and we didn't hang out with your sister in school.
No, we didn't.
Because she probably wasn't even there. She's much younger than we are.
Yeah, I used to have to pick her up from primary school and walk her home.
But yeah, like she was crying about MCR possibly breaking up. They didn't, but like I think like 3 years later they did break up, and I was like, ha! But yeah, my point was my dad hated my music, and even now that my musical taste has evolved, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I have the best taste in music. I like so much shit, it's amazing. I do like some really weird shit, I admit. Like, if it says experimental in one of the genre tags, I'm like, yeah, let's listen to that, man.
Yeah.
Like Death Grips, they're very experimental and I love those. High Lung, that fucking Nordic thing I showed you. That was dope. I love that.
It is not something... It's not something you can just stick on. You've got to commit to listening to that.
Yeah.
That's a whole event.
Yeah, and even though like now we're like all sorts of stuff like folk music, indie music, you know, I don't like pop because I'm not a little bitch. But he just doesn't like anything I'll put on, even if it's the most chillest, regular sounding song I can find. That's as close to pop as I'm willing to go. He's like, this is boring, this Ash, and I'm like, what do you expect to get out of music?
But like he couldn't explain what he does like, and he couldn't explain why he likes it and why he doesn't like what you put on. You know, like there were a lot of people when we were younger who, whenever they heard something electronic, like EDM sort of thing, they'd go, "Oh, it's not real music. They're not talented. They're not playing a guitar, playing drums or whatever." Your dad doesn't even have that. He doesn't have that argument.
No,
he doesn't. He doesn't know.
The closest thing to an argument I've got out of him when it comes to like heavy metal music and that is that it just sounds like noise.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's wrong with your ears? Because I can hear a few riffs and melodies in there and stuff like that. Like, fucking hell. But no, you're right. He doesn't understand why he doesn't like things, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Because like he just says things like, I'll put a song on, right? Like, I'll play some classical. It was Vivaldi, Four Seasons. Mm-hmm. Which is, it's dope music. And he was like, this is boring, Ash. And I'm like, is music just entertainment for you? Like, music's so much more for me and a lot of people. I don't put it on just because I'm bored and I want something to do. Mm-hmm. I put it on as like background music. I'll put it on because I want to experience a part of the song again, you know, in its entirety and whatnot. Music's just like magic for me, and it just isn't for him.
It really changes. Whatever you're doing, as soon as you put music on, it's a completely other thing.
Yeah,
it's like got a completely other feel. Like you could play a game fully all the way through, muted, and then play it with like a Spotify playlist curated for that game, and it's completely different. It's so much more awesome.
Like
every now and then you'll like we were playing Mad Max with a Mad Max playlist that somebody curated with loads of like Johnny Cash and stuff.
Yeah.
And like every now and then you'd like go over a dune, and then just as you land, the music kicks in, and it's like yes.
Well, could you imagine like playing Uncharted all the way through, like Uncharted 4, without a soundtrack?
No.
You'd be like, this game sucks. Then you play it again with the soundtrack, you'd be like, wow.
No, the game wouldn't suck, but it wouldn't have the impact that it has on like the first time you play it through. It's just this huge epic thing.
Like, can you imagine walking through the world of Oblivion without the classic Elder Scrolls melody playing in the orchestra in the background, you know?
So we gathered here today to talk about a specific thing, but I feel like we've somehow naturally segued into...
I was thinking that, but what I was also thinking is it's 30 minutes, right? That's like 2 sections. So we've had our pre-section where we talk about whatever the fuck we want. Now we can talk about Dark Tourist.
Well, no, I was going to say, because I had planned to talk about music on one of the podcasts, and we've pretty much done that thus far, so we might as well continue and talk about music.
We can talk more about music if you want. I love music, so good.
But next episode, so next week for you guys, we will be talking about Dark Tourist, so try and get in some time, watch that before we talk about it, because it is really good. It's on Netflix.
I'd love to have loads of listeners so we could start like a book club and
a book club?
Yeah, well, I like reading books. I'm sure you do. We could be like...
No, you didn't. Never mind. I wasn't saying book. It sounded like you said but.
A butt club?
Yeah, but because of our accent, it was book club.
Book club.
Yes.
So it could be all like... So yeah, guys, make sure you read the book before next week when we talk about it and stuff like that. And we could do it with like Netflix or movies as well.
PewDiePie.
But anyway, music.
Music, yeah. So I've been listening to a lot of music lately, probably more than I usually would, and I just wanted to talk about some of the
very,
albums.
very proud of you.
Yeah. So instead of like just curating playlists or just finding a radio on Spotify and stick it on shuffle and not even looking at what I'm listening to, I've started like picking out specific albums, listening to the album, like start to finish, not on shuffle, just to get the experience, the journey that the artist intended. But yeah, so I was gonna tell you to prepare for this and think up some of your like favorite albums that you're sort of listening to a lot at the moment. But obviously, as we've impromptu dived into this, you may not be prepared. But however, I am.
I can log into my Spotify and I can talk about some of the songs on there. You keep talking, obviously.
Yeah. So one of the main things I've been listening to a lot lately is Childish Gambino. I know we've talked about that before, I think. Oh, sorry, that's my phone.
I told you to mute your phone, so you do, and then you stick it on the table so it can buzz and vibrate through the mic stand. Brilliant.
I know. So Childish Gambino. I find a lot of his music is sort of inconsistent with itself. And I don't say that as though it's a bad thing. I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't actually think it's a bad thing. I think that's one of my favourite things about Childish Gambino is that you can go from a song like Sober, which is probably one of my favourite songs ever, to This Is America. And you could easily believe that it's a completely different artist.
Yeah.
Because it's totally different. But then, like Redbone as well is completely different, but that's amazing.
I really like Redbone, but I'm really upset there's a certain part I can't sing.
Yeah.
Due to my skin colour.
Well, a lot of the music I've been listening to lately, there's a lot of that. And because my friend Joseph, who used to work with me, he's now left now, he's gone to university in London, so congratulations, Joseph.
Hey.
We'd always listen to similar sort of music, and we'd put that on in the office because we just sort of have that privilege where we worked. Well, where I work, where he doesn't work anymore. And there was a lot of that, like a lot of the N-word creeping up. So we'd be like singing along, and then we'd just censor ourselves and just... It was kind of funny to see that, just because it's so blaringly obvious what we're doing and what we've avoided saying. It just makes it stand out even more, the fact that we skipped it. My
favourite part about songs that feature the N-word is looking at covers and seeing ways that people come up with saying something similar.
Like radio edits as well. There's that song somebody made, it had Chris Brown in it, I think. It's called Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
So that has the N-word in it a lot. And I was in a taxi coming home from doing the shopping one time, and it came on the radio, and I was like, whoa, this is on the radio. But instead of the N-word, they said winner.
Right. And the part where it's all like, whoa, so now can I say winner?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Usually they just go down the route of like...
Well, actually, he says, can I really say the N-word? Or whatever, and he's like, I think I'm going to say the N-word, and then he says, I'm not winner, yeah. So...
Right. Usually they just do they go down the route of like, someone will be singing, they'll be all like, and they'll start saying the N-word, and they'll just go, Nidroliet.
Yeah. I think that was too close. I might have to censor that.
Yeah,
No,
well,
I'm
just
kidding.
cut it out, reverse the sound wave and all that, you know. That's what they do. Speaking of albums, though, that I really enjoy, there's one that you really enjoy that we listened to last night.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds by Jeff Wayne.
It's like from the 60s, isn't it? It's very old.
I'd say early 80s, late 70s, I think.
All right. I think the book is from the 60s, maybe?
Oh, the book's old as shit, innit? It's, was it Jules Verne?
Beats me, man.
I'm sure it's Jules
It
Verne.
is really, it's such an experience.
Yeah, late
It just takes you
70s.
through this like fucking orchestral journey. And I was saying last night, I like how each track is sort of evolution of itself.
Yeah.
So you'll start off with one part of the orchestra, I guess, one set of instruments.
Yeah.
And then they'll introduce another set of instruments. And then...
H.G. Wells wrote
I see.
War of the Worlds.
So yeah, you'll be introduced to another set of instruments, and then that'll be put on top of the original set, and it'll just keep doing that until you've got this full orchestral piece. People singing about the chances of anything coming to Mars were 1,000,000 to 1,
But still they come.
And then you get to the last. I don't know enough about music theory to know what everything's called, but the last sort of bars.
Yeah.
And that's all the things that have been building up throughout the song combined together, and then it's over, and you start the next track, and it does the same thing with new sounds, and new lyrics. Throws in some like audiobook shit in there, just to get the story going.
Yeah.
It's
the guy
really
narrates
good.
it and
It's just
narrates
such a
certain
good-
bits. But yeah, written by H.G. Wells, so it probably came out over 100 years ago.
Wow.
Not the album, the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a super dope album to listen to.
I like how the bits of the story that they throw in with that like audiobook style
Yeah.
dialogue is it's so old and unevolved, sort of. I sort of know what I mean. Like everything is poorly described because they don't have much inspiration for that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it was.
Oh my god, what is going on outside?
It was like 1898 or something like that. It got released, the book. So, science wasn't really.
Well, yeah, exactly. So like,
there was a lot of science fiction.
So everything's explained in a really basic way, as though it actually happened, and their minds were so blown by it, they didn't know what they were seeing, they didn't know how to describe it, so it's described in a really, very basic, like, sort of primal way.
Like Horsell Commons, they're talking about how these cylinders run screw in.
Yeah, and there's like, 2 feet of screw, and then the lid pops open, and there's these cylindrical eyes, not cylindrical, disc-like, I can't remember what it says.
Yeah.
Spherical, probably.
But it's like, back then, that was their idea how someone could travel between worlds in a big metal cylinder that just has a screw on the end.
Yeah.
And they didn't think about like docking or landing gear or anything like that.
Yeah, it just fucking
just shoots down and impales the earth, and then everyone just unscrews the capsule for an hour, like, and then jumps out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a dope album.
Mm-hmm. Tell you another album I'm really liking listening to at the moment. It's probably the one I've put on the most, especially in recent times, like walking to work, walking home from work, sort of thing. It's called "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick Lamar. It's really, really good, and there's a lot of sort of experimental shit in that as well. Like there's one track. It's called "You," just the letter U.
Right.
And there's this bit where he's just like drinking from a bottle, and you can hear like the swigs, you can hear the liquid moving around in the bottle and stuff, and he's just like singing, but drunk singing and sort of sobbing in between. So it's just like this really. It sounds good, which is the surprising part, because everything in your brain tells you that it shouldn't sound good. What the fuck is going on outside?
Maybe there's like a War of the Worlds scenario going
Yeah, I
on.
know, what the hell.
You're just gonna start hearing da-na-na-na-na, bum bum bum,
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like swigging this bottle and like cry singing, but it sounds good. It's got really good rhythm, even though he's supposed to be this like drunk,
that must be so hard.
distraught guy. And then there's this bit as well where the track sort of starts breaking up. And if you're listening to it from speakers, it just sounds like the track's breaking up, and it's like, oh well, plenty of people do that. But then it's sort of, if you have headphones on, it's binaural.
Right.
So like every now and then one earphone will just cut out completely, no sound at all. The first time I heard it, I thought my headphones were breaking, because that's something that actually happens because I keep buying cheap headphones off Amazon. So like when the jack is going, like one of the headphones will cut out and it'll like pop back in. So first time I heard it, I thought it was that, but yeah, just that kind of experimental stuff I just really like. He did an album for Black Panther as well, which I've talked about.
Yeah.
That's really good. Some of it's kind of poppy, but he puts himself into it, and it sort of takes it away from being sort of the everything else you hear on the radio.
He's definitely got a signature sound.
Yeah. I'm so surprised that Disney were like, make an album for Black Panther and swear the fuck. Swear and talk about drugs and whatever you want.
They're probably right. It's Disney. They're probably like, oh yeah, that's the sort of music your people listen to. Let's do it. Because you
can talk about horse and guns.
Fucking James Gunn can say whatever he wants, but Disney's got no room to dispute it. The fucking racist cunts. As far as like rap and that goes though, and hip hop, I really like Aerospace. I fucking love Aerospace. I can listen to his albums every day. Yeah. I just bought a new one as well.
All right.
I bought it when
you usually send me the link so I can buy it as well.
I think I bought it when we all went to my niece's birthday party thing at Pizza Hut. So I was in the car, bought it on my phone, and I completely forgot about it. So I haven't even streamed it yet.
Oh, what?
So we should definitely listen to that.
Yeah, we should definitely listen to that. Not now, obviously.
Not now. And obviously I'll give you the files. Shh. Don't tell Bandcamp. But yeah, I really like him because...
Yeah, it's a bit flawed, isn't it? Like you buy it and then they give you a link that anyone can open.
Yeah. Even if no one could open it, like, they give you the files so you could just zip them up and send them to someone. But I really like him because he's not on radio stations. He's not like... I don't think he's got any music videos on YouTube. I've not been able to find any.
Yeah, he's hardly even on Spotify either. I think I found one or two tracks on there, but...
He's on Bandcamp, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a hipster.
We've found some really good music from there, like that fucking... What was it called? Boom Bap Bigelow.
Oh, yeah. Boom Bap Bigelow.
I wonder if I've still got that somewhere.
Was it like the Invincible Mask or something like that?
Yeah.
Boom Bap Bigelow.
There was two people. I tweeted out and tagged them in it that everyone should listen to the album because it's awesome. And they fucking retweeted it. I was like,
the guy who produced the album, not the rapper, he was a Japanese guy, wasn't he?
I think his name's Japanese. I don't think he is.
All right. Okay, fair enough. It's online, so can't really tell.
They're the production company, I guess, is it just doesn't seem as serious as it should be. Like the logo is Ichigo's hollow mask.
Yeah, the
from
label.
Bleach. So yeah, the record label.
But yeah, we're coming up close to the end of this episode.
They're so short now.
I would also like to say they are very short. On the subject of rappers, I also really like Immortal Technique.
Yeah,
because he's got one awesome song. I forgot what album it's off because he just named his albums Revolutionary Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
Yeah.
It could be Volume 2, I think it's off of. It's called Dance with the Devil, and if you've never heard it, you should go listen to that because it's a story. He raps and he tells a story.
It really gets you, man.
Which is good.
It's got also, all the feels.
He's Hispanic and he throws the N-word around a lot, and I'm like, are they allowed to do that?
Do you have permission?
Which reminds
Show
me
a card.
Which reminds me of Luna C, who hails from BD5.
Oh, really?
So
that close?
So close to where we live.
Where's BD5? Which one's that?
Do you want me to Google that for you?
Yeah, go for it.
I live in BD6. Don't find me. BD5 is...
For those Americans listening, our postcodes work this way, so we have like sort of an
we don't
area
have
code.
zip codes, you have postcodes.
Yeah, so we have like an area code, like we're in Bradford, so it's BD, and then a number which is like the zone, and then whatever the rest is. I used to think postcodes were unique to your house, but it's to your street.
Yeah. So
Which seems...
it's that
kind of
BD5
obvious,
starts at the National Media Museum,
Whoa.
apparently, and
How is it right next to BD1? Does that make sense?
they're all fucked out. They're like BD6 could be next to BD12 or something stupid. But yeah, it apparently starts at the National Media Museum and ends towards Lowmore. So probably lived around Lowmore-ish area or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, what I was saying is it reminds me of Luna C, what I said about him, the Hispanic guy, Immortal Technique saying the N-word, because he was doing a rap battle against someone, and he was like, why are you Hispanics always saying the N-word? Because Martin Luther King had a dream and you weren't even in it. And he was like, oh, sick burn. I love Luna C as well. You should check out the best of Luna C on YouTube. He says some right shit.
So before we finish up, as you warned me, we're reaching the end.
Yeah.
How close to the end are we, in fact?
Oh
my God, what's going on outside?
We've just hit
so
the 30-minute mark.
All right, okay, so I just want to talk about one more album.
Okay.
I think we've talked about it before. We both enjoy it. It's called KOD.
Yeah.
Stands for Kids on Drugs. This is the most ramshackle fucking ghetto-ass podcast with some like construction workers going on outside. It's ridiculous.
I'm telling you, man, we need to get some like plywood, right?
Just board up the windows in my rented apartment.
We'll figure out the dimensions of your window. We'll cut that out, and then we'll just fucking fill. We'll get 2 layers of plywood. We'll we'll sandwich loads of foam in between it, and then on the inside, we'll put some foam walls on that as well. And every now and then we'd record. We'll just pop it in that window.
Yeah.
But anyway, KOD, Kids on Drugs.
Yeah, stands for Kids on Drugs. It's a really, really good album. And if you listen to that from start to finish, there's a lot of sort of like intermission tracks, and there's a prologue. Or is it? Is prologue before? Yeah.
Yeah. Prologue and then epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah. Yeah. Because I was thinking, wouldn't it be prelogue?
Yeah.
I've got a prelogue.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the album as well because he raps about how his mum being on drugs and stuff, which is like a big inspiration for his career and that.
He's got this really interesting like little bit that he does where he's talking about Uncle Sam taking all his money in taxes.
Yeah.
I pay taxes, so much taxes that shit don't make sense, or something like that. And he does this little bit where he gets a phone call. And the way he says it is, it says, "Oh, sorry, it's my unk," but it sounds like he's saying "aunt" for ages. I didn't get the metaphor.
Right.
But basically, is like, "Yeah, I told you I'd get the money. How much do you want?" And then Uncle Sam's obviously like half.
Yeah.
He's like half, bitch. You better suck half my dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good album. It's great.
I really like J. Cole, and I do like that album.
Yeah, J. Cole's just great. Chance the Rapper as well, acid rap.
Yeah,
really, really good. You should check all these things out. I mean, I know that my music taste at the moment is sort of centralized on one genre.
Yeah, you never really. When we met, you didn't listen to music purely for music's sake. You listened to it to fill a gap.
Yeah, now I'm getting into just like listening to music to enjoy it as what it is.
And it always baffled my mind. I was like, do you just not enjoy music or something? You're like, oh, it's a useful tool that I like to use. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Because I'll listen to music every second of the day, mate.
I don't listen to it that much. I think working in an office has helped me get into music a lot more because it's pretty much vital.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot get you through your day without music.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I don't know how my friend Paige does it. She's not allowed her phone. She's not allowed to talk too loud. It'd
be different for me because it's my luck that I'd end up if I got a job where we're all working in an office and we listen to radio. It'd be my luck that I'd listen to like BBC radio or something like that.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing about it is that usually I'm not in control of music.
Yeah, they're listening to some pop music that I don't like.
Yeah, it's usually whatever's popular at the moment, and like I'm not into Drake.
Nah.
And there's a lot of that going around at the moment.
And they'll always say shit like, "Oh, I love this song. It's the best song in the world." A year later, they'll be all like, they just don't remember it.
Yeah.
Like, Gautier. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now You're Just Somebody I Used to Know, something like that. Everyone loved that song, saying it was the best song in the world.
Oh, it's so hard to
listen to. And now,
how
many millions of people do you reckon don't remember a fucking thing about it?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
What a sad note to end on.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. His career is okay. He wasn't even a pop musician to begin with. He did like indie stuff, and he just got popular because of that one song.
It's that one pop song that he did. Yeah.
It wasn't even really a pop song.
No, it's still.
It's like
sort of in keeping.
It's
with
more
his
like indie pop
signature.
But yeah,
we should close things up. Sadly, pretty early, but there you go.
Like a 35 minute episode for you.
Cool.
Nice bite size. Like I said, it's like an amuse bouche for the ears. Kind of like an ear bit. No, we can't rip that off.
check us out on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter's at UT2cast. Instagram is Untitled-2 podcast. No spaces or dashes or anything. We post highlights on there every single day. It's automated. Don't worry, I'm not some sort of slave worker, but I do have to set it all up, so it's still an effort. But yeah, check them out. If all you get out of this podcast is the little highlights we put out every day, then I'm perfectly happy with that. That's a great thing. So we'll see you next week to talk about Dark Tourist. So don't forget to watch it because it's
good.
Really good.